want to talk about Rachel Maddow one more time. And I promise I won't talk about it long because we really went in depth last night. But so last night, Rachel Maddow got the attention of the entire United States of America, probably international, with her tweet saying that we have Donald Trump's tax returns. Seriously. No, that was in her tweet. She said seriously in her tweet. And so, instantly she began trending #1, got the entire attention of the nation. And it turns out that it was not a big deal. It wasn't a big deal in terms of what she had. What became the big deal is what happened because of what she did. What she did was essentially share the fact that Donald Trump paid his taxes in 2005. Donald Trump came out looking like the good guy. Nothing ground shaking, nothing embarrassing, nothing worthwhile. It would have been, as we discussed last night, it would have been a simple article. A great article on Huffington Post, breaking news, or a scoop, but not something to elicit this fury, this rage, and this energy that is America is waiting on Donald Trump's tax returns, period, because we should see them, because we need to understand the exact depth of his conflicts of interest. And so for Rachel Maddow to lead off saying that she, in her tweet, saying that she had a very ambiguous tweet, right? She didn't say which tax returns she had until the next tweet. All she said is she had the tax returns. Now, why am I talking about this again? Because you really get an opportunity to see the psychoses in action. The people, twofold. Actually, let me double back. Number one, what Rachel Maddow released last night actually was a great news piece for Donald Trump. There's no other way to look at it, because now the comparisons are being made. Of course, it's 2005, but the comparisons are being made to Barack Obama in 2014, how much he paid in taxes. I think Donald Trump paid around 25% in taxes in 2005, and Barack Obama paid about 18%. Or I'm just, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but this is the comparison game that Fox News has jumped on, and Rachel Maddow was the muse through which this very positive news cycle for Donald Trump came. She was, I don't know who played who. David K. Johnston, the journalist, he's a great writer, great journalist. He said he got it in the mail, and he brought it to Rachel Maddow, and they did breaking news. The problem is twofold. One, you got to, it's just innate in me. It's to actually think through the ramifications of the story, not just the story, not just run with, I've got breaking news, right? You got to think through the ramifications, because now Rachel Maddow has given, again, and I've said it, I'll say it again, gave Donald Trump a very positive news cycle, exposing the fact that the talking point that Democrats had during the general election, that Donald Trump possibly didn't pay taxes for 20 years. It's not true. Here he is. He paid $35 million and $38 million in taxes in 2005. And so the first part of the story is the fact that Rachel Maddow was used probably by Trump. This is like the perfect, I don't think Trump has the capacity to be a long game kind of four-dimensional chess player, but how easy is it to capitalize on this desire in most journalists and all journalists to get the scoop? That's number one. Number two is the fact that you gotta be, as a journalist, as a commentator, as a person who does media, whatever the hell you want to call us, you absolutely have to be responsible with what you say and how you promote what you say. We should not be clickbaiters. We shouldn't. There's an entire industry for that. They make millions of dollars a year through that, right? And if you want to do that, do it. But never oversell something and underdeliver. If you oversell, you got to overdeliver. And that's simply not what happened last night. And the reason it's worth talking about again is because people are trying to convince themselves that it was something more. And when I say people, liberals are trying to convince themselves that the Mensch, Mensch, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, the lady who's now the journalist who's now like the favorite of MSNBC, she's rather pretty much a conspiracy theorist. She said this is actually Rachel Maddow doing a reverse catfish, setting up Donald Trump. And I'm like, no, stop. This was Rachel Maddow getting too excited, and not really thinking this thing through. Now, on the flip side of that entire conversation is the fact that Donald Trump's taxes for this decade have still not been seen by the American people. And we know for a fact that Donald Trump is financially benefiting from the presidency by all of if nothing else, by the Secret Service paying rent in Trump Towers, by the constant trips down to Mar-a-Lago. These are properties that he owns. His ability to inflate the cost of club membership at Mar-a-Lago. There's clearly conflicts of interest that are occurring every single day with Donald Trump, and American people should see his taxes so that we can understand the extent of this conflict of interest. But the 2005 tax return that shows Donald Trump paying almost $38 million in taxes definitely was not worth our time last night. And I don't think anyone who's trying to cover this up and say, oh, no, she has a master plan. No, it's important, and it's important to me. Perhaps it's not as important to the audience as it is to me as a person who does media, a person who tries to be as responsible as I can with my titles, with my tweets, whenever I decide to be responsible with my tweets. But you'll never find me. And if you do, please call me on it. And this is why I have good people around me to call me on my bull. You do not oversell something. You do not make something more sensationalized than it actually is. You don't, and you definitely don't do it for the sake of ratings so that you can continue. They're enjoying this number one spot. They're enjoying this number one spot not only on the case of last night. I'm sure her ratings were off the roof last night, right? But they're enjoying this number one spot as a result of this Russia narrative as well. And it's undermining the legitimate resistance that needs to take place against Donald Trump. Shifting from a journalistic critique to an activist critique. It completely undermines our efforts because it takes away from the real issues that are still happening every single day that Donald Trump and his entire cabal, they're engaged in hurting the most marginalized groups. And we can't discuss those things because all of the air in the room is being sucked out because of Russia. And now Donald Trump's tax returns, but not Donald Trump's tax returns in an important way, but Donald Trump's tax returns in, we got something here, let's run with it kind of way. It undermines our efforts. And from an electoral critique, it undermines the efforts to actually make the changes in the Democratic Party that are necessary to beat Donald Trump and to beat back against this onslaught of white supremacists, everything that Donald Trump represents, because it is allowing the Democratic Party to assuage their torment because they lost to Donald Trump. They're tormented by the reality that they lost to this clown. And they're not having to confront the very real issues that they are responsible for. They are the reason they lost. And so long as people like Rachel Maddow and Joyanne Reid and the rest of them, as long as they continue to just capitalize on the ratings they can get from this type of behavior, it continues to undermine the legitimate resistance that must take place against Donald Trump. So from every angle, from a journalistic critique, from a commentator critique, to an activist critique, to an electoral critique, chill out. Rachel Maddow.